Welcome to the Big Biz Show.
Taking care of business.
You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to the Big Biz Show, live inside the Loft 100 studios. And as we like to say around these here parts,
howdy to you.
And a burp also makes sense because we're at the bar. That is the Day Trader Trio, Costa and Sully here at the bar.
I don't know where you're watching or listening, as Mike likes to use in his parlance, but boy, in San Diego, maybe in Southern California, or could it have been in Louisville?
Yeah.
There's been a cootie going around.
The big time.
And
I had it over the weekend.
And I'm not. And I tested. Don't you love how you don't want to test for COVID now? Because if you do, you have to just bury yourself. And before, you wanted to test for COVID to make sure you weren't going to die. Because we didn't know.
I see the C come up and I just take the card and go, whatever. Such is life.
So I tested for COVID 3 times in the last 3 weeks. There's no COVID. So there's COVID going around. And there's a cootie going around.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just Southern California, but we were decimated here.
C squared.
Yeah, exactly right. Great to have you along. Hey, I'm not sure, but I'm going through a 3-quarter life crisis and considering every other day, considering leaving the state of the failed Republic of California and moving somewhere else. So just flying into the show a couple days
South Carolina, here we come.
And I'm looking at everywhere, including Austin, Texas, where there's a surf park. I'm looking at Utah, where there's another surf park. I'm looking at the Lazy Acres retirement home in Seal Beach, California.
Supposedly Mississippi's supposed to be red hot right now.
Well, here to talk about that, of course, is our entrepreneur and chief analyst, smartest guy in the room, best hair on the planet.
Always.
Font with us. Howie, what's the latest here? Are these the best cities that you compiled, or are these just the most affordable cities that you compiled?
This is an interesting compilation of some U.S. Census data that shows some of the top 25% of cheapest cities as share of income. So, relative to the median wage in that city, versus what the median monthly housing payment is, whether it's a mortgage or rent. So,
So basically, for example, I'll give you an example. So in San Diego, California, roughly 26% of your wages per income goes towards your housing. In San Francisco, it's roughly 24-25% here on the West Coast. You're talking about when folks are getting down to in the low 20s, where your debt to income ratio that most mortgage holders and most underwriters look at is a 30% debt to income ratio in terms of what your payment is versus what your income is. These are well below that. How we talk about the number one. I am not surprised because of. I've been there, and so is James, and so is Brian. It's called El Paso, Texas. Yeah. The reason it's cheap is because, well, it should be.
You can almost see civilization from El Paso.
Oh, you can certainly see Juarez, Ciudad, from there.
Well, no, I mean, that's certainly part of the point this data makes. So, you'll see a little bit lower, like number 11 on this list is San Jose, and that's 22%, almost 23% of your share of income.
Right.
But the median household income is way, way higher.
But look at like Phoenix, for example, beautiful city. Yeah. Indianapolis, great city. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah. I mean, these aren't necessarily ugly cities. San Jose is a great spot.
No, Indianapolis, like you said.
Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
Then there's, as I said before, El Paso.
I like Virginia Beach. I totally get it.
It's for lovers, Howie.
One of the
Sorry.
That got me.
At least that's what the bumper sticker said.
By the way, it's not the failed state of California. It's the People's Republic.
I thought it was the failed Republic of California.
The failed Republic.
Or is the failed Republic of Texas?
Just say failed.
Yeah.
It covers all bases.
Well, look at what's interesting here is you're coming up with something, because if you juxtapose this, and maybe we should do this maybe on Thursday or tomorrow, is talk about potentially the best cities in terms of quality of life next to the most affordable cities. Stay right there, Howie. Howie Font's with us, our lead analyst. We continue.
Lead analyst here on the Big Biz Show. Do not go anywhere. More with Howie right after this. Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Thank you for being along for this edition of the Big Biz Show, wherever you are, wherever you're listening. We always appreciate it. We always appreciate them. That is the Day Trader Trio. Best in the business, no less than self-taught.
Mike is a little undertow there when they finish the song with James was a little,
Oh, was I supposed to drop it? Was I supposed to drop it down?
No, not you. No. Just the pastor's praying at the very end. They got the guy that was you. Okay. Friends gather around the receiver, and James is still playing on there. Hey, Howie Font is still with us from New York City. We're talking about the top 15 most affordable cities by housing costs, and this is a U.S. Census data piece of information. What's interesting about this is housing costs relative to the median income of your city. Okay, and I believe it was family of four, if I'm not mistaken. 44% of U.S. homeowners and renters say that making their mortgage payment or rent payment is a struggle. When it's 20%, it's not a struggle. Is El Paso hiring? Howie, do we look at it? I mean, honestly. It might be cheap because there's nothing to do there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what
definitely. By the way, that's a huge part of it, and you see that when you see the household incomes. I mean, that says something about the robustness of the city. So
West Texas has a ton of pecans. I mean, there's all kinds of that sort of farming going on there.
Sure,
but I mean, you can tell when you're in West Texas. I mean, it suddenly looks like.
But it's a dry heat.
The wages are 60 to 80
It's a
grand.
dry heave. Is what. It's not a dry heat. It's more of a dry heave. But it looks like every spaghetti western, which, by the way, the reason they're called spaghetti westerns, they're all filmed in Italy.
Yes.
But in reality, it looks like every western. Howie,
Lago.
What are we talking about for monthly payment here? What does this say? Could you imagine a monthly payment of $1,000 a month? That means their income's $5,000. Okay, for family of four. Okay, that's a $60,000 median income. So $59,932 as it says right there. But what a big jump though, from the number one city to the number, let's say 3 city. If 60,000 is the median, up to 71,000 is the median income. What is the median income in San Francisco compared to that? It's got to be twice it, right? Something like that?
Yeah. I know San Jose's on this list. That's 150. I'd imagine San Francisco's even higher than that.
Yeah.
But in the big cities, they literally incorporate, at least in New York, you don't have a car payment, you don't have car insurance, you don't have certain expenses that you do that living in most of the rest of the country, and everything's so expensive. You're literally paid more because of the cost of living in the city, and so that the numbers kind of have a skewed effect there.
What percent, if you were not just a professional investor, which you are basically, and if you were not so parsimonious about, Howie one time, instead of hiring movers, carried a mattress when he was younger down the streets of New York City because he wanted to invest.
Look at that poor homeless boy.
He wanted to invest $50 in Apple versus, which is actually a smart move. What do you think
your bike lane on my head at midnight? Yeah.
What do you attribute in terms of percentage of your income for? Because I call you once a week and you're probably in a subway. I don't know if you take cabs or not. In terms of time lost or time gained, by not having a car or having a car. Does it even out for you, or is it still just ridiculous in New York City?
Look, I mean, I always go with extremes. I save 50%. I don't have any children. I have no crazy obligations. I live below my means. I always have, and I allow my consumption monthly to be 50%. That includes rent.
It's usually really on Friday nights. If you ever talk to Howie on a Saturday morning, the consumption's usually Friday night. I hit the 50 percentile. Hey, what is in terms of let's say like Virginia Beach or San Jose, California? I mean, San Jose, California. If you think in terms of Silicon Valley, that's the dead center of Silicon Valley. Yeah. It either tells me that there's an open air indicator saying that they've stopped hiring for technology, or it's got to be the hottest bed of employment for technology in the country. If you can get a job there in Silicon Valley that pays 150, and that's median income, right? Yep. That means there's half of it above that, half of it below that. Okay.
Well, there could be some distortions. I bet you stock compensation and options are not included here. So if you just have founders or very small companies, paying you $100,000 to $200,000 because you're a programmer and you're getting a lot more compensation in stock. I mean, you also have to look at the payment, the median payment there. It's 3 times what El Paso is.
Yeah, true. That's true.
$2,800. I mean, $2,800 is a lot of space almost everywhere in the country.
Hey, Howie, let's turn the page since we got a little bit of time here. Let's talk about tariffs. President Trump announced new tariffs day before yesterday, targeting timber, lumber, kitchen cabinets, upholstery. People like Ethan Allen and Jerome's Furniture are. I mean, look at furniture is such a commodity, or has turned into one, and you can tell by the fact that if you go on offerup.com to try to find a sofa, you could buy a $10,000 sofa for about $15.
Easily.
And by the way, it's only a year old. I mean, nothing loses value faster than furniture and automobiles. Talk about this a little bit. What's the purpose here?
Well, I wanted to talk about this round of new tariffs for a couple of reasons. By the way, he also put a 100% tariff on movies filmed outside the United States.
Finally.
That's very interesting. I want to hear your guys' take on that.
Well, no, I guess there's no Italian Job 3.
Dang it.
Yeah, exactly.
There goes the Downton Abbey number 4.
And that scene from First Godfather would have never been made if you ever watched the show The Offer. That cost an extra $25,000 to do that, to go over to Palermo, Italy.
Yeah, you said spaghetti westerns earlier, so I wanted to bring it up. But the furniture one is interesting because the way that the president worded this announcement was a little bit different than a normal tariff. He said any company that buys its furniture outside the United States will be tariffed at 100%.
What about IKEA?
Oh boy, Sweden's pissed.
IKEA 100% falls under this, but he's focusing on China. The tweet or truth or whatever it was, the announcement actually referenced North Carolina and said, because North Carolina has been decimated, which North Carolina used to be a huge state for manufacturing furniture, and it's not any longer.
Okay.
Because North Carolina has been devastated, I'm putting on this tariff. And if you buy as a company furniture from IKEA or from China, do you get 100% tariff on your business? Not related to furniture at all. I mean, that's what he's implying in the tweet. So that's why that one's
So what I have to ask is, what's the real game here? Because when the whole tariff thing came out in the beginning, what he was seeking was 15% tariffs. Mm-hmm. That's what he wanted to end up at. Okay. And of course, he went for 135 or whatever the crazy number was. But he started, and guess where he ended up? He ended up at 15.
Yep.
So, what is the end game here, in your opinion? I mean, I know they do he loves to do the big, rope-a-dope, faint like a huge problem, and this is so serious, and we're not going to back down, only to back down very shortly from now. But what do you think? What's the end game here?
I knew you would go there, and it's very interesting. I thought about it a lot, and he's never referenced. He said he wants things. The best deals possible for America, but but he's never said anything specific, a specific community.
Was it a rope-a-dope just to get to China? I mean, was it a soft goods thing just to have the excuse to say China again, to put pressure on China because he's really run out of options for China. He's done everything he can. Now it's just got to wait and let the pot boil.
I think he must be looking for some specific concession related to North Carolina and even to California with the movies thing, or he's trying to please specific people. So these announcements.
Is there a strategy? Is there an election strategy for North Carolina and California that could be extrapolated from here?
Maybe he's seeing something. Maybe he's seeing some weakness in California Democratic politics, or he wants to create a harder road for Newsom.
He could be. Yeah, I was going to say he could be trying to make our Lord Governor Newsom look bad in the process. Yeah. That is Howie Font. He is our Big Biz Show financial analyst. All right, keep it right here. There's much more to come with this here program. See you in a minute. This show continues. We are in Southern California inside the Loft 100 studios. Hope you're having a great day. That's the Day Trader Trio. They always do back here at the bar. It is Costa and it is Sully.
Great to have you along today. About 85 million television homes nationwide, coast to coast here in the States. Let's not forget Bloomberg, El Financiero, Bloomberg EU. And all of the streaming services that we have, Mary sent me over a big list of all the places you can catch up.
He is the CEO of Beeline Holdings, Inc. Of course, their ticker symbol is BLNE. And we welcome Nick Liuzza back to the Big Biz Show. Nick, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for making the time.
Hey, happy to be here, man. I love the music in the beginning. I'm from New Orleans. I mentioned that, so it's in my blood.
Yeah, we got to get you in studio sometime. But then again, you'd never leave, so then I have to fire Mike and he'd be my co-host. Which, actually, let's talk about that after the show.
Oh, boy.
Hey, talk about one more time what Beeline Holdings is. I understand fintech, mortgage lender and a software as a service platform. But talk about what that really means to Johnny Lunchbucket that doesn't really understand that whole model.
Yeah, listen, there's a generation of people out there called the Millennials that are 75 million strong, and the generation behind them, Gen Z, who grew up with these phones in their pockets when they were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, right? And that generation is a very powerful generation coming of age, and they represent 40% of all mortgages as it stands today, and they're going to have a huge impact on the mortgage industry. What Beeline has done is speak to them better with a better platform that uses AI to allow them to get to the closing table faster, but more importantly, with products that don't currently exist in the large mortgage companies bucket, if you will, and they exist in our bucket, which means that if you are a millennial and you have lumpy income, or you are an influencer, or you're part of the gig economy and you don't fit in the Freddie Fannie box, then we are the company for you to provide you a mortgage, because more than likely it's game over with one of those big other lenders.
Nick, are you finding out, even though they've had that phone in their pockets since they've been 8, 9, and 10 years old, they have a grasp of the housing market and the mortgage world, or is this something where, and I hate to use the term,
well,
but I will.
They're staring at their faded Hope and Change poster in their parents' basement.
Well, yeah. Do you more or less kind of dumb it down for them and make it easier for them?
No, we actually expedite it and make it a little more sophisticated than I think it currently is. So the process is actually collecting information very quickly and very fast. And it's basically, we're not dumbing down the process, we're actually expediting the process and getting to a decision that's 90% accurate in the first 7 or 8 minutes.
Gotcha.
And so, that's what we're doing.
I got to ask you in terms of where we were during the mortgage crisis. Right?
Yep.
We're talking about FAGA Premier loans, stated income loans, and we've learned nothing. We've come back. And for a while there, those folks in your business were not only underwriting for your own shareholders and your own sakes, you're also underwriting for the regulators. Has that changed a bit? Because it seems like there's stated income loans coming back in. Is it better than it was before? We learned our lesson, or are we back to where we were back in 1993?
Yeah, listen, I'm not seeing the stated loans like you saw back in 2008, where that market was just completely held in a handbasket, and there was, a lot of fraud going on across the board. Dodd-Frank came in and cleaned all that up, and so the products that we're offering are called non-qualified mortgages, primarily bank statement loans and DSCR loans. There's regulation. They're just more conducive. They're not like those stated income loans where, you walk into a mortgage company back in 2008 and it didn't matter who you were going to walk out that door.
But Nick, let me push back on your industry for a minute, because this is something that my daughter, who just recently got married, and now they're looking to buy a home, and they're looking to qualify, and all the same stuff we all went through, where now I'm looking to have to write a check to help them out, like we all do. But why is there such a thing as a stated income loan when all the mortgage industry has to do is take our income versus our adjusted gross income? There is a 72,000 page tax code. We all take advantage of it to pay the least amount of tax we can legally and write off everything we can, including your home office, including any sort of travel that has to do with business, every single thing legally. And of course, if you make A, you're going to make A minus 30 for your adjusted gross income. Why in the world, when your adjusted gross income does not literally mean the amount of money you're taking home, would the mortgage industry still underwrite using that line 30 on your 1040 form versus actually using the actual money that you're taking home? Because it's like using EBITDA to assess profits. Now, I understand EBITDA is a universal sort of guideline, but taxes and interest are real expenses. Why would you exclude those out of a spreadsheet? Same thing I have to ask about folks and getting mortgage qualifications.
Yeah, listen, stated loans are not nearly as popular as they used to be, and for good reason, right? And you pointed out some really good reasons. For the most part, they've been replaced by bank statement loans, right? And a bank statement loan, doesn't allow anyone to fudge or make up numbers, right?
Yeah, it shows that you're depositing, correct?
Ebbs and flows, right? And so, Beeline is looking at your ebbs and flows. And at the end of the day, if you've got more at the end of the month and you can afford to make that mortgage payment, then more than likely you're going to get a mortgage.
And that's what I'm saying. It took you guys to figure this thing out, which should have been figured out years and years ago, in my opinion. But God bless you for doing it.
Well, to be fair, we didn't figure that out. We do offer the product. It wasn't necessarily a product we created, but those products aren't available in the top 50 banks, right? You can't go to Bank of America and get a bank statement loan. You can't go to Rocket Mortgage and get a bank statement loan, right? So all we did basically is say, hey, our AI is going to direct you to the best product that suits you. Conventional will be the cheapest money, but if you can't qualify for conventional, then we'll redirect you to another suite of products that are not tied to 2008, that are regulated,
right?
That are,
Hey, Mike, I'm sorry, Nick. We were talking off the air today, and you talked to me about this really cool fractional equity product, and it stopped me in my tracks as we were talking. Talk about that for a minute, because you have this
I'm
unique.
Really excited about that. You notice I'm moving my chair about it, right? So product is a very new product that's coming out. Fractional sale of equity does exist, but not with mortgage lenders, with companies out there that are doing these products. The problem is these products, the way they're being done right now is they look and feel like a mortgage when they're really not. They're disguised. These companies are disguising them as, hey, sell a portion of your home, and you don't really have to pay us back unless you don't pay us back in a certain period of time. Then we start charging you P&I. So it looks and feels like a mortgage, and those companies are under fire, and those products are punitive. Whereas our product is going to be tied to a coin, right? And we have a partner who's going to mint a token based on a recorded deed that we give them. So if you're a homeowner and you have equity in your home, and you want to monetize some of your equity and bring the cash in the door, and you don't want monthly payments, or you can't qualify for a mortgage, or you just at the end of the day you have lumpy income, whatever reason. If you don't want to do a cash out refi, or you can't do a cash out refi or a HELOC, you can sell a portion of your home, and we'll give you cash in 7 to 10 business days, and you don't have to pay it back until you sell your property.
Did you guys scare up regulators and try to find out what's happening out there? Because it's clearly illegal what's going on with some of the trading.
Yeah, it's not right. Look, at the end of the day, these are people. Look, I mean, I'm all for people making a living and making their money and doing things right, but these people are not doing things necessarily right, and the rules benefit them and they stretch them. And at the end of the day, look, selling against America and the fabric of against America is just something look, I mean, who wants to bet against an emerging company that's employing people and doing the right thing and offering products and services and creating liquidity to a market that needs that, right? Here we are, busting our behinds do the right thing and create products and make a difference in the marketplace. Meanwhile, we have people who don't even care what we're doing, and they're just
they don't even know what your company's about. They're just looking at the numbers. Well, we're going to fix it here by having you back on the air more. We're going to give you more exposure on this.
Nick Liuzza, CEO, Beeline Holdings, Inc., ticker symbol BLNE, website, makeabeeline.com. All right, keep it right here. Make a beeline. Back to the show in just a second. In over 175 countries and all the ships at sea on the American Forces Radio Network. As always, a shout out to our brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces. What you do, what you've done for us. That is the Day Trader Trio. They do the best every single day for us here on the Big Biz Show. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, and it is Sully.
Let's not forget BizTV. Let's not forget, of course, El Financiero. And Bloomberg and Bloomberg EU and the rest of all of the online places you can catch us, including Spotify, Spreaker, Apple, iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio. We are literally everywhere. I still get emails when I wake up in the morning saying, "Hey, I loved your interview with Lance Alstodt."
Yeah,
which happened at today.
Right.
But
Lance Alstodt is the Chief Executive Officer of BioRestorative Therapies. Their ticker symbol is BRTX, and to show you what a trooper this guy is. Right after our interview, guess where he is going, Sully?
Hawaii.
Straight to the dentist to get 2 root canals. But he's coming on the show first.
So he's on-ramping by coming on this show. I got a chance to talk to Lance before the program. Really interesting company. Sorry about the root canal, but I guess we get to the last time you get to talk for a couple days. So that works out well.
There'll be a lot of people very happy about that. Don't worry about it.
I know. I get the same thing. Hey, talk about what's happening with BioRestorative Therapies. You guys have this stem therapy for chronic lumbar disc disease, which I think we all have. We may not have, but I think back pain and back issues are the number one cause for work outages in this country. And you are right at the tip of the spear here. Talk about what you guys are doing and this fast track that happened with the FDA.
Yeah, thanks. It's a huge market, obviously. And let me just back up a little bit and give you a little overview of the company itself, because we do more than just back pain. We're a clinical stage biotech company. We develop cell therapies for large billion-dollar market opportunities. Our lead program is BRTX 100, and that's in a phase 2, and it's for chronic lumbar degenerative disc disease, and it's a condition that affects millions of people all over the world. And currently, there's no FDA-approved biologic therapy. And I always say it's not a matter of if, but when you get lower back pain, and we're here to effectively solve that problem. Alongside that, we have a cell platform called ThermoStem, which is focused on obesity and metabolic disease through brown fat biology, one of the most exciting frontiers in healthcare today. But what really differentiates us as a company, I believe, is our hybrid model. We're pairing long-term clinical value with near-term commercial opportunities through our biocosmeceutical line. So we're not just one of these binary biotech bets, but we're building a diversified company with multiple shots on goal.
Hey, Lance, I have a question for you since you brought it up. You know, typically in that bio model, that sort of risk aversion model is to take it to the 5-yard line and get another company to take it to market. It sounds like you're to market with part of what you guys are doing. One of your lanes already going to market. Does that help with the therapeutic side, or do you still kind of get Big Brother to come in and hit the home run at the very end on some of that specifically?
It's a great question. I think it offsets some internal burn related issues, and obviously in this tumultuous capital markets that we've seen for microcap biotech, it has made us somewhat less dependent on the external capital markets, but it allows us to really focus on fundamentally what we do well, and that's molecular biology and cell therapy formulation and manufacturing. So, the commercial platform was something we put together about 24 months ago. We've formulated products. We have an exclusive distribution agreement. And what I like to say is it sort of de-risks the story as it relates to only having either a clinical or preclinical program. It gives us, a little bit of air to breathe and also sets us up nicely to support some of these clinical programs so that when we do get to that 5-yard line, which I think we're approaching with respect to our lumbar program, we'll have a whole host of strategic alternatives available to us.
Lance Alstodt is the Chief Executive Officer of BioRestorative Therapies. BRTX is their ticker symbol. Lance, as far as BRTX 100, is that for somebody who's got the chronic disc disease, whatever's going on their back? Would that be like an injectable or an oral type of medicine?
Sure. So what we do is we use the patient's own cells. And, in the alternative, so if you present to your doctor with lower back pain, and it doesn't discriminate against gender or age, anyone can have it. I mean, 18-year-olds have it, 65-year-olds have it, everyone in between. And today, it's either opioid use and a ton of lost productivity here in the U.S. So we use your own stem cells, and we formulate it in this novel proprietary manner that directly targets the damaged discs.
Okay.
So we're not looking to just treat the symptoms. We're looking to actually solve the problem. This isn't about transactional-based healthcare. This is about really finding a cure and remodeling and regenerating that disc environment.
So you're kind of teaching my cells how to go to work for me type of thing?
Exactly. It's taking the best cells within your body and then effectively supercharging it under a low oxygen tension called hypoxia, which is really the basis for a lot of our intellectual property. We really focus on conditioning those cells to be really strong and really resilient, because we have to put them back into a very difficult to heal area, very toxic area like your disc that has low blood flow, low oxygen tension, low pH, a whole host of really nasty things within that disc. So these cells can withstand that harsh environment because of how we produce it, and allows it to scaffold, proliferate, and really regenerate that environment.
Amazing.
Hey, Lance, one 11-minute segment's not going to cover everything I want to talk to you about, so we have to definitely have you come back on the air. But my audience is familiar with me saying this about the struggles that biotech, biopharma have had over the last several years, starting with JP Morgan Chase, kind of painting a very ugly picture back in 2022, 2023, and 2024. 2024 was supposed to be your big year, not you personally, but the industry. Capital markets opened up a little bit in the second quarter, then slammed right shut. I asked this of all the biotech firms that come on the air with us. Does it seem to you right now that there's light at the end of the tunnel finally for biotech firms that are trying to balance that capital formation structure on a long-term play along with revenue capture on some of the other things? Because it seems like there's good news abound, but I'm always cautious now after we got burned last year in the biopharma space. Well, I think it's been somewhat nascent for a long time now. And whenever you see a segment that has been undercapitalized and a lot of the medium to smaller size funds starting to exit, the ones that are really specialized, it's almost an opportunity, I think, to pick up on some of these mismatched valuations. That's just a general statement. As it relates to our business, I think in biotech, there's also the have and the have-nots. Within cell therapy, I think the winds are definitely shifting in our favor. The current administration has been much more open to advancing cell therapies. We're seeing the FDA create frameworks for regenerative products. That's critical because it obviously de-risks the regulatory path and accelerates our time to get to market. Combine that with the fact that cell therapy has finally captured mainstream investor attention, I think thanks to the success in oncology and now obesity. So I think more capital outflow will tend to gravitate to where that segment is being lifted by either administrative, regulatory frameworks, as well as fundamental wins as it relates to clinical data. Yeah. Hey, Lance, before I let you out of here today, and I do want to have you back quickly, can we talk real quickly about ThermoStem? Because I want to just talk about another therapy that you're talking about. It's a cell-based platform. Talk about what it does and where you're at with it in the arc of that story with the FDA as well. Yeah, so ThermoStem, we're harnessing brown adipose-derived cells that naturally regulate metabolism and energy balance. Hey, Lance, for the rest of us, that's brown fat, right? That's what they call the stubborn fat?
brown fat. So the white fat is the fat that you and I spend time watching what we eat and going to the gym and cutting down the calories and all that. And the brown fat you're born with, and as time goes on, as you get older, you begin to deplete the reservoir of brown fat. Brown fat has been shown and proven to regulate metabolic homeostasis. So it's kind of the reasons why animals, hibernating animals, can actually go hibernate for 6 months without eating, or it's why young children versus adults can go outside in the middle of the winter without hats and gloves and coats, and you yell at them, put your gloves on, it's freezing out, and they say, Mom or Dad, we're not cold. It's because they have a higher percentage of brown fat. It creates warmth. There's a higher degree and percentage of mitochondria in those cells. We have the largest brown fat stem cell bank in the world here at our facilities in New York. And it's really one of the hottest areas in biotech right now, given the explosion of interest in obesity and metabolic health. We think that ThermoStem offers a completely different mechanism of action, one that could complement or even go beyond what GLP-1s are doing today. Think about it. If we could trigger the body to burn calories more efficiently, you're not just treating obesity, you're opening the door to broader applications in diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and longevity. This is a pipeline within a platform with real upside.
So all I have to do is just hibernate.
Yeah,
is that what Lance is
we're
saying?
We're going to move them in.
I like it.
Or get a lot more brown fat cells.
Lance Alstodt, Chief Executive Officer of BioRestorative Therapies. You're going to see a lot more of him on this show. Their ticker symbol is BRTX. Lance, thank you so much. All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. Don't go anywhere. Continue live from the Law Firm Studios in Southern California. It's the Day Trader Trio back here at the bar. It is Costa and it is Sully.
Hey, good to have you on today. Nationwide, coast to coast. Boy, don't try to break into anything. Don't try to steal anything.
No.
Don't try to go through some sort of a camera system when you got Cloudastructure around. James McCormick, CEO, Cloudastructure Inc. I'll tell you what, he's raised $1 billion in funds for companies in his career.
That's amazing.
Which I thought I was closing in fast with like 650 million, but he's raised a lot of money. James, can I ask you something before you got here to this company? Because you're a regular guest and we're covering this. What made you jump into this space? Because and not that it's a foreign space to you, but because you've been in high tech industries for your whole career. But what brought you here? I mean, there was a tipping point. You could have stopped working a while ago. What made you? I mean, you're CEO of a public company, which is not a 9-to-5 job. Which is not. Which is a 9-to-9 job at best. So talk to me. What brought you there? We never talk about you.
Yeah, so very good question. So I was on the board of directors of Cloudastructure for a period of time, for about 3.5 years. And as the company was going through the process of going public through a direct listing on NASDAQ, I had the opportunity in talking with the board of directors and the founder of the company to step into the CEO role and sort of marshal things through that IPO process, as well as to get the company ready for the next stage of its growth, right? From a revenue generation and operational standpoint. And that's exactly what we're doing. It from my standpoint, Sully, as I like to say, I've done a lot of things from a career standpoint. I've been CEO, COO, CFO, public and private companies. So at this stage of my life and career, I really view myself as a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, well,
whatever a company needs, I think I can slot in.
I'm getting to know you, and I would agree that's 100%. Plus, there's a $200 billion physical security market. And look at that's just too. I mean, you're licking your chops when you see something like that. Hey, for the folks that haven't heard your story before, you guys have a fully cloud-based platform designed to kind of react, respond, and deter all at one time versus one or the other in terms of security. Talk about what you guys do over there.
Sure. Very, very quickly, what we do, we have a platform that we generally sell to enterprise customers, for instance, multifamily properties. We use real-time artificial intelligence monitoring, proprietary analytics, and live remote guarding. And what we do is we detect suspicious activity and alert responders quickly. And we're doing this in real time, not after the fact. Like traditional security systems, just they're reactive. We're proactive. And the one statistic we really like is when we identify threatening activity, 98% of the time, it gets diffused, right? The problem goes away before something bad happens.
And you know, ever since there was a company called Sonatrol, which was an alarm company like ADT or National Guardian or the others that would put microphones inside of buildings. There hasn't been sort of this type of technology. That technology has been around for 40 years, but it was never very good, because if there was so much as a mouse, there'd be a false alarm. And the biggest bane to existence for alarm companies is false alarms, because the police departments charge you $50 to $150 every time they got to roll the police, and there's nothing there. This is much larger than that. I mean, if the other piece of this too is that your Motion GI doesn't take a lot of bandwidth. Correct. How is that possible?
Yeah. So our technology is, or our solution, we have a very light footprint that goes into the customer site. What we basically need are cameras, speakers, and a proprietary device, what we call a cloud video recorder. And that piece of technology is what takes the video streams in, sends it to our data centers for AI processing and cataloging and tagging of the images. And that's how the solution works. The press release we just put out about Motion G or Motion D or Motion AI is really, it's a technology that allows that cloud video recorder to work with more cameras, I guess you would say, right? Through different compression algorithms, those sorts of things. So yeah, we're a pretty bandwidth light solution, I guess you would say.
And it's working. James.
And it works.
Where it used to be where you'd have to send somebody a VHS tape and say, okay, here's the footage, go through it. If the feds or authorities come to you and say, hey, we need this block of footage from you, it's as simple as sending somebody a video file?
100%. And not just that, much as the way that Google indexes the web, we index videos for our customers to make them searchable and actionable. I'll give you an example. Say that the property manager comes in on Monday and notices that one of the gates has been smashed into, and notices that there's blue paint on the gate. So he just goes to his portal, types in car blue paint,
right,
and we will have indexed those videos, and he can look at them and go, oh, jeez, there's Bob Jones. He smashed into the gate. I'm going to send him a bill for $5,000.
It's always Bob.
That's the kind of it's always Bob. It's always Bob.
James, real quickly, I got about 30 seconds left here today. What are we looking forward to for the rest of the year with you guys? What are we raising capital? Are we just putting our head down, getting new clients, acquisition? What's happening?
Sure. We're set right now from a cash standpoint. We are not at this time looking to raise additional capital. It is heads down. It's organically growing the business. We're diving into new verticals. We're expanding in multifamily with customers that we already have, adding additional properties. And just one additional thing I want to point out, we're also we're also looking very, very closely at campus security.
Interesting.
Right? Specifically, universities. This is a big topic right now, both from a parents, student safety, security
Well, not to
officers,
mention the
those sorts of
addressable
things.
market, buddy.
Yeah, there's only a few. There's a few universities in the United States.
Thank you, pal. Appreciate it.
There's a few.
James McCormick, CEO, Cloudastructure Inc., ticker symbol CSAI.
We are brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advance, better science, better results. Starbucks Coffee. Of course, Bloomin' Brands, their fine family restaurants. Let's not forget Taylor Guitars. Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com.
That is it for the Big Biz Show. Thanks for being along for the ride. We will see you next time.